Cool. So yeah, do you need to be anywhere at any point? Like just so
No.
we have.
No.
Okay, cool.
I have to head off at 11:30. But I'm sure we'll be done before 11:30. So yeah.
Cool. All right, well then let's get into it and things like that. So I have the for Australian writers under 25 document up, and I'll try and share these things maybe in video editing or at some point, and then the under 35. And then I was thinking we could just go through advice and go through your writer's holy grail for all the different publications and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. I won't lie, I haven't touched any of that stuff in a long time, but
that's all good. It's still all there.
Yeah, that's it. It hasn't gone anywhere. I'm just like, where is it? I've got under 30 and 35. Where is under 25?
Yeah, my laptop is very much overheating at the moment, we shall see how that goes.
No, having a whole moment to itself.
Yeah, it really is. It's doing its thing though. So it hasn't crashed on me yet. Fabulous. Hey, and I thought I'd introduce you a little bit.
Yeah, go for it.
Jaime Colley, she, her, was awarded the Pierre De Coubertin Award for her reverse poem, A Competitive Player, a Passionate Player in 2017. She was a guest reader at the Vena Cava Fresh Blood Festival Salon and has read multiple times at the QUT Literary Salon. She won their 2022 Winter Writing Competition, and she also won the McIntyre Open Writers Competition in 2022 and 2023. In 2023, you have so much things. It's really amazing.
I was going to say, where is this from? Wow.
Deep dive. I was like, yes, I will talk you up. Published in Voiceworks, the 129 volume Static, for her piece How to Make Fritters. Additionally, Jaime has been shortlisted for the Allen and Unwin Writers Prize, and then you won it, right? Pretty sure the next year. Yeah. Incredible. And then you're a creative resident and unleashed poet and artist at Why Not? And I think the things that you've done, sorry, my laptop has frozen on me.
Oh, well, you're not frozen my end, if that makes you feel better.
That does, so that's good. But yeah, I think the things that you've done for Why Not has been really incredible and amazing. They have this amazing artist, Aileen, but I'm seeing them getting more artists and things like that in. Estelle, who's done that, basically that bush printmaking of just getting natural really ingredients to make paint and things like that. And
really
seeing
gorgeous work.
Yeah, going into poetry and things like that. I was like, okay, I can probably go change sort of the formula a bit to suit my own writing style when you're in that Residents Unleashed program. It was really cool.
Yeah,
and just super.
It's a great program. Why Not's been really good, and they've taught me a lot. Not even just about when I was doing writing and I was a creative resident and doing my art and stuff, but I am now an editor for them as well, and so that I've learned a lot through that too, and that's been really cool. And the pieces you get to read are amazing too. So yeah, we love Why Not here.
Yeah, they are so cool. It's so amazing to be sort of paid for your work and all that kind of thing. It's incredible.
Yeah, it is. It is lovely.
Honestly, yeah. So this first video, I'm hoping we're just going to do a things to do before turning 25 as an Australian creative writer with more of a Queensland focus. But basically, we'll just give some little things that you should do and basically a bucket list for creative. So the first one we have is Voiceworks Magazine, which you've been published in before. I have not. I've tried to a few times, but I never stuck to the theme. And I finally stuck to the theme this time and submitted for their Vice volume that they're doing, which is exciting, hopefully.
Fingers
But yeah.
crossed.
Yeah.
Voiceworks is a really cool magazine. I need to maybe submit more given that I'm nearly aging out. But that's fine. But no, Voiceworks is really cool. I think I got published with Voiceworks, and look, it was a long process. I applied to it, and then it was a while until I heard back, I think. But the best thing that I experienced through Voiceworks was the editing process afterwards. So you have like a set editor that you work with, and they go through with your piece, and you go back and forth. And it's really, really cool. And the edits that we did, I think, were fundamental in making the piece way better. So the piece that got published was my piece called How to Make Fritters. And then I later, after publication, submitted that to the Allen and Unwin Award for QUT, and that's the one that won. And I don't know that it would have if it hadn't had those edits. And it was my first experience as a young person having a detailed editor go through with me over something, which was really cool. But yeah, Voiceworks is epic. The art, I don't know if you've ever read one of their magazines, some of the stuff they are publishing is really cool. The art, the comics. So they do art, comics, poetry, nonfiction, fiction. Yeah, they're really good. I think they do interviews maybe, I'm not sure, but no, they're really cool
stuff. Yeah, and they pay $100 for the written work and art too, $100 for art, and $150 for the multi-page comics and suites of art, which is pretty good. So
yeah, it is really cool. It was my first ever paycheck as a writer, which was really sort of cool. I think I like framed the invoice or something as like a holy grail moment. But they are cool. They do have themes that they run through. But I think too, a lot of the work that they have is experimental and is very cool. And I think while the theme is certainly a guide and it helps to stick on the theme, I think too you can sort of push the boundary a little bit with it. Do you know what I mean? Because my one was static, and my story How to Make Fritters was about like growing up and feeling that change and becoming a new person, but sort of longing for the person you used to be sort of moment. And I guess I can see how that relates to static. I mean, otherwise why else would I have submitted? But I think the themes are loose, but they're a good guide.
Yeah, it's cool. And I think that's like a nice piece of advice too when submitting to magazines. I definitely noticed it with doing Lit Salon and things like that, because if someone is written to the theme, you feel like, oh, they've written a piece for us, which you're more likely to like accept it then, because like somebody's put in the time to like make it for this event, this magazine, this salon, like so
I have my own reflections, like, as a writer on moments like that. I've certainly been lazy in the past where I've, like, written pieces ages ago and then thought, oh, yeah, it fits sort of to whatever theme to whatever I'm submitting to. And then it doesn't get picked. And I'm always like, oh, well, that sucks, but whatever. But then I noticed when I was more proactive and you'd write pieces specifically to the theme with the intention for that publication or whatever it is, I always found that they did a lot better. In general. But ironically that piece for Voiceworks was an old piece that I rejigged majorly.
But it works too, that it works, that you just gotta like, if you don't submit, you don't have the opportunity to get in, sort of thing. And like you've got all this old writing that you want to put somewhere, and so many things have themes. It's like just find the right way to get it in there.
I think too, like I look back at my stories, and I'm sure everyone does this. You look back at the stuff you wrote when you were younger and you cringe really hard at it. And then you come back at it when you're older and you've got fresh eyes and you've been away from it for like 2 years or 18 months or however long. And then you rework it again. And I think there's a magic in that itself too, because, you can transform that into now. And I think that's what happened when I did that story and when I put it into Voiceworks, because I re-edited it and rewrote it with the purpose of it going to Voiceworks. And I think that's why it did better, I think, than what it had done in the past, because previously the story had been rejected multiple times. So but anyway, but Voiceworks is a great one if you're under 25, 1,000%.
And that's something that's so common too. You just get rejections, and And it can even be on the same piece, but then you put it somewhere else and it gets accepted. And it's just a matter of trialing a few different things. And
that's it.
Yeah, on saying that, so you submitted that to the Allen and Unwin Prize there, and how did that go?
Really good.
You got in. So.
Yeah, well, I was shortlisted, and that was really cool. I'd seen the competition run, and it was my last year that I could apply before I was sort of out. Like I didn't qualify for the criteria anymore, and I was like, this is your last year to do it. So if you're gonna do it, you got to mean it. And it was the story I was most proud of, the one I'd put in the most work. Obviously, I'd been through with an editor, which really helped. And so I put that one in, and it was really cool. I think the opportunities that came out of the Allen and Unwin Award for all QUT students that are out there, it was epic because shortlisted, you get to meet and chat with really cool writers. The other shortlisted writers, Rory, I'm sure you know Rory. He was one of the shortlisted writers, and
he got in this year. He got it.
Excellent. Great. Oh, that's excellent. That makes me so happy to hear. Because I know he was shortlisted the year before me as well. And yeah, I was like, he's such a great talented writer. I was like, if he doesn't get this, like, this whole thing's rigged at some point. You know, he has to win this at some point. And yeah, so you meet with really amazing writers, and then I got to do interviews through Scratch That. I think it's Scratch That, yeah, which was really cool and really fun. And then also, I mean, I won, and the prize is really cool. So you get $200, I think. And then you also get a meeting with one of the editors at Allen and Unwin, which is really cool. I have her email for life now. And you just sit there and you have like an hour-long chat, and you get to ask any questions you have about the publishing industry, what they're looking for, what they want in stories, what advice they would give you if you're looking to get published, which was really, really cool. And they're really like happy to see like people come through the competition as well. So, you know, she was very much like, you know, email us whenever you have anything, like, should you have anything that's ready for publication. And that's really cool too, to have that support. And I'm sure if I emailed her, she probably wouldn't remember me, but I forgot the email. And like, you can remind her, it would be fun. But yeah, and I think, you know, I think sometimes writers, it can be hard to network in spaces like this. And sometimes I feel like publishing can feel really exclusive and like way above, like sort of untouchable a little bit. Because I mean, like we said, you get rejected so often sometimes. And but I think when you make those connections, they're really valuable, and I wouldn't be afraid to rely on them either. So yeah, the Allen and Unwin Award, I would encourage anyone to apply to it and put in the work that you feel sings most true to you and that you're most proud of. You know, that you've dedicated heaps of time and effort into. I wouldn't just write something last minute and put it in. I would really make the effort to, you know, hone it in before the competition closes. So yeah.
Because that's a competition that's run through QUT. And so was it something that you were allowed to submit a previously published work?
Or that's what they didn't have any criteria on whether it was previously published or not.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it was cool. And like part of it is it could have been published in Scratch That, the winning piece, if you wanted. And fun fact about Voiceworks, it's a non-exclusive license agreement. So you can publish with Voiceworks. You can then also still publish that piece elsewhere if you wanted to.
That's incredible, yeah.
Yeah, which is really cool because not everywhere is like that. So it's certainly interesting. The fact that they pay you for that and then you still have a non-exclusive agreement is really cool.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Okay, so moving on to the second one then. I saw that, thought I'd just do a little run through of Visible Ink Youth Hub, which is this place in Fortitude Valley that offers a lot of support and a space that you can book for art or music rehearsals or just to borrow their printer to print your book multiple times. And it's for 12 to 25-year-olds. And it's also got a developing artists and residency program, which are year-long opportunities for young people aged 17 to 24 to live rent-free in a supporting and creative environment designed to progress your art and things like that. So it's a really cool space. I've mostly gone there to print multiple copies of my book. That's so much cheaper than printing it at Officeworks and things.
Oh yeah.
I saved like hundreds of dollars, to be honest.
Printing is so expensive, but that's really cool that's like a space that exists. I hadn't heard of that before. That's epic.
It's really good too. They also, because when I went there, they're really supportive. They'll like show you around and you can book different things. And they also said that the people there are really knowledgeable on like things that are available to young people and can help you fill out grant applications and all these other kind of things too, which is
that stuff is so daunting the first time that you do it, especially grant applications. I've never had to do any in a creative sense, but I've had to do them in my day job, and they can be a lot if you're not familiar and you haven't got that guidance. So that's really cool, because there are so many artists that need that funding to back their creative process to really let them like flourish and get out in the world. You know what I mean? Like, it's not cheap to produce art, and that's why it's really important that spaces like this exist and like getting paid exists and stuff like that. So that's cool as.
And they have lots of free like materials for art and things like that. When I walked in, they were making skateboards. I was like, that's kind of cool, like free skateboard materials and all the paints and everything. Like, and I think there's different like youth hubs sort of thing in other areas of Australia and like the major cities and things like that, but I haven't looked into them too much. So if anyone knows, that's cool. But yeah.
Oh, that's epic. That's so cool. And cool that you were able to print off your manuscript. How many copies did you print off?
I must have printed off 10, and I think I only got 2 full edits back, which is like the crazy thing that just always happens. But yeah, that was great though, because then it's like you're not spending all this money to give people copies of your book that are very unlikely to get it back to you, because that's just how things go. But then you don't have to worry about that. You're like, it's okay, it's fine. I didn't spend, $50 printing off that copy for you. Like, it's okay. So that's great.
Who did you go through for your edits?
Oh,
or did you just put them out into the void?
Friends and like other creative writing students and just people that said like, yeah, I'll take a copy.
We've got such a good community, don't we?
We do. It's really nice. So it's pretty great, and it is good when you're like involved in these kind of things that you can just be like, here's a manuscript. If you get edits back to me, yay!
This is why networking, when I was like starting uni, I was like, ew, networking, gross. Didn't believe in it at all. Now I do it every day for my day job, but then also like, this is why it's so important. It's so important. And you don't even think of it as networking. Like, it's as simple as like, for example, if you're at a literary salon, just going up to someone and be like, I really loved your piece. And that's like, there's a relationship started right there. Yeah, so it doesn't have to be the daunting, like, I feel like people think networking is like extreme, extroverted conversation that has to be professional. It totally doesn't. Talking about passions and writing and editing is great. And when you're in a writing community, it's easily done.
I know, because you're just like, what books are you reading? How that goes.
Sorted.
Oh, yeah. No, it's so good. Okay. So on to number 3 now. There's the text prize. So it's the annual text prize for young adult and children's writing. It closes around February 20th and is $25 to enter. But I'm pretty sure you get like a huge so the winner receives a publishing contract with text and a $10,000 advance against royalties. And there's the Stephen Bow Mentorship for Young Writers, which is awarded to the lucky text prize entrant under 25. So the winner is paired with a middle grade or young adult author of a 20-hour mentorship over a period of 6 to 12 months. So that's a big award and prize for those with like under 25s and everything like that. So. And there's prizes for younger than 18, the Hachette Australian Prize for Young Writers, and Little Stories, Big Ideas. So there's lots of different prizes and things like that if people want to go down that route for getting their books published.
Yeah,
Which I thought was
there
cool.
there are heaps out there. Even, I mean, Hatchet Australia, the Text Prize, like there's some really big ones. But there's always little competitions running all the time as well, which are really cool. But yeah, my advice for those big ones, because I'm so bad about, I haven't applied for any of those ones yet. We're gonna say yet. I'm gonna get back together. Is to, yeah, don't put in the last minute entry. I had a moment where I put in for a competition not long ago and I hadn't written in ages. I found I graduated uni and started full-time work, and I worked corporate job, and it was really difficult to maintain both. I sort of looked at a computer all day and then came home, and it was really hard to sit down and write and all day. And so I put in this last minute entry to this competition, and of course it didn't do well. So those big ones, I mean, a little bit like submitting to Voiceworks and any major, I would argue, literary magazine in Australia, is put in the time and effort. Don't do the last minute bid just in order to get into it. I think you're better off waiting till the next year and cultivating the story throughout the year than pushing it through, I think, is probably the best way to go. But those are great competitions. The Text Prize is really cool. I know they ran 2024. I haven't heard if they're running again this year. But they're really cool. Hatchet Australia is really good. They work with the Express Media, and Express Media is really dedicated to youth storytelling as well, which is really cool. So yeah, excellent.
Hey, Jamie, a 5 minutes thing has just come up on our meeting. Do we know how
Oh, don't
to
worry.
extend that at all?
You should just be able to keep talking.
Oh, cool.
It shouldn't matter.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Okay, so moving on to number 4, I thought we'd talk a little bit about like university and the opportunities that does give you, like even the Allen and Unwin competition. And I can see behind you have like a glass
Yes.
poster.
It's a cover I did for Glass, and they let me steal the call flute. And now it's sitting up in my unit, very proudly. I love it.
I love that. That's so good, because yeah, universities do really offer these, like they usually have a university magazine that is just a really great opportunity to submit work to, and to almost, you know, more likely to get it in and get those first publications out and things like that, which is what I've really found. Glass was my first publication.
Me too. Love Glass. Love all the teams that I've seen through Glass. I mean, I was at uni I'm graduated now, but I was there for 5.5 years, and so I saw a new iteration of editors for a long time. And all of them have done a brilliant job in making that student magazine what it is. And yeah, published some amazing pieces in there. I've loved it. I've always gotten a kick out of being published in Glass. It means so much to me. I know definitely for sure other universities have their student magazines. UQ has Jacaranda, but I don't know if it's necessarily UQ exclusive compared to Glass. Glass is QUT exclusive. And I know one of the Melbourne unis has got Farrago mag, and that's like that university exclusive too. So I think for any uni student out there who's looking to get into their writing, I mean, you just have to do your research, have a bit of a Google, see what you can find, go to your open days, and you'll probably find them. Or contact your guild too, because they'll know. Yeah.
And then Scratch That is our other magazine that Jamie even mentioned a couple times.
Scratch That.
Which is so good. So there is 2, which is kind of fun. And yeah, it's just like you don't even have to be a creative writing student. Like I know that's the same for the Literary Salon, which is more like the club for presenting your work that our uni has as well. Like, and then there's also like a book club as well. And there's just so many more opportunities through university that you can access if you look for it, which is kind of fun. And in Australia, we are super lucky, and I don't know about other states and things like that, but just having youth allowance and all these different things, and even the scholarships that you can find through uni and equity scholarships, and moving, you know, did you manage to get that scholarship as well, like moving away from a rural town?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did really well. I had a lot of support coming from my small town and then moving to Brisbane. Yeah, which it was really handy. I was really young. I was 17 and I don't know that the transition would have been as smooth had I not had that type of financial support. But yeah, it
Yeah.
was a sad day when I stopped getting that.
Yeah.
That's okay. I was able to support myself then, so it was fine. But no,
Yeah.
youth allowance is, I think, a really critical thing to help people get up on their feet, and especially if you're an artist or a creative of some kind too. And it doesn't
But
always pay great art, which
yeah.
is totally like shouldn't be the case, but
Mm.
like that's the truth of it. And so having that bit of support is really helpful, especially if you're someone who lives really rural and you're wanting to move to the city or vice versa or whatever, it's really helpful.
Yeah, having that under 25 youth allowance, it was what sort of gave me the opportunity to come to uni, because I was trying my best. I'd finished a book sort of thing. I was trying to get it published, but it wasn't good. I was not getting in, I was stuck at this point. And then it was sort of like, oh, you'll get, youth allowance if you go to uni, and that basically pays for the degree if you want to do it that way. And I was like, well, may as well sort of thing, and may as well go and do that. And so that sort of got me into uni. And then I learned so much at uni about how to fix up that novel and write it and
I
really nice.
I feel like maybe other creative writing students and other art students probably get this, where people like, you don't need to go to uni to study creative writing, art,
Yeah.
whatever that creative field is. And I just want to say you definitely don't have to, but oh my God, the opportunities I've received through uni, through doing my degree that I did, and then also
Mm.
through the people I met, the courses I did. I don't think I would be as good a writer. Well, I know I'm not as good a writer if I hadn't gone to university. I look at, not to say that, you can't be a good writer if you don't go to university.
Yeah.
That's certainly not the case. But I think me personally, it was worth it. And people are really quick to discredit art degrees. And I think that's completely unwarranted because, I see it like I work a corporate day job now, and I think my creative writing degree, I actually use that more in that role than I do. I have a law degree as well, and I don't know that I use that nearly at all. So, I think it just goes to show
Yeah.
you that, people are so quick to write off the worth of the arts, but really they're actually incredibly worthwhile. And so I think people who are umming and ahhing about going to uni to do art degrees, it's worth it. If you feel like you're going to get
Yeah.
something out of it, then you will get something out of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I found it really interesting because I was technically very much like just on the cusp of like I was a mature age student going into uni and things like that. So I had this other kind of experience where uni was like it was great and it was helpful to like reinforce all of the like basically all the YouTube training I had done of like what other artists were doing and what other writers were doing. But it didn't always tell me a lot of like new information on how to perfect my craft. Like it did at times, but it was like pretty much like make sure your characters are like multi-dimensional. It's like, wow, thanks.
Yeah. I
But
think
like
too,
it's
uni's
more,
really good at making you read outside of what you normally do as well, like the
yeah,
readings
that
we
was
did,
the
and then
huge,
reading other people's work as well. Like
yeah.
sometimes, the best advice is read as widely as you can, and I think that's certainly pretty damn good advice.
I think that was huge too, just like expanding like your reading and things like that. But just the opportunities I think that uni gave was like the huge thing that I've gotten out of it coming to the end of my degree now. Just the competitions, the like how to like I didn't even know Brisbane Writers Festival was a thing. It's huge. And just
Yeah.
meeting different people has really because it does like as you said there's this very like oh don't get into the publishing world, it's a higher class people and it's so hard to break in, but uni does sort of give you those opportunities to just crack the door open, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I loved my degree. No matter what anyone
Yeah.
says.
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
Oh, well, going on to that, we have the Brisbane Writers Festival. and things
Love
like
the
that.
Brisbane Writers Festival. You were a youth ambassador, weren't you, last year?
Yeah, I got to do that, which was incredible. So that was 14 to 24-year-olds could apply for that, and that was sort of like, I'm pretty sure they advertised it at the end of the year kind of thing for those applications. So you can see whether those are available. But it was such a cool opportunity. It was so good because you get to like really see the behind the scenes of what all the authors are doing and get the opportunity to meet all the young adult authors and help facilitate that side of the program, which was so cool. But it was also just a lot of like fun, like, look, we liaise with the youth, and we're like, yeah. Because it was sort of just like, we are here, we like got invited to the launch party, and we did some like reviews on the website and things like that. But it wasn't this, I thought it was going to be this huge workload, but it was actually just so much fun.
Yeah,
So
I can imagine. I went, it was my second time going last year, and I loved it. Authors I met, spoke to, heard them speak. It was so good. And I think too, I distinctly remember the first piece of advice I ever got at uni was to volunteer, which I was never able to because it always fell during my exams. But I made time for it last year. And I'm so glad I did because it was epic. And yeah, I definitely volunteer. I so want to be a youth ambassador. I reckon I've missed out though. I'm gonna Google it.
yeah, have a look at it because it was really good. And honestly, volunteering is so amazing. Getting that opportunity to just, because that's all behind the scenes, and you can like help do the signing desk, which you're basically just talking to authors and like recording people's names, and it gets you into all of the events and things like that for free. Basically, you can just walk into the end of any, what did you see the
I was gonna say, do you want to know something really cool? I just Googled it, and it came out with get to know our youth ambassadors, Josephine Renee. And there's your face right there. You were my top Google search. How exciting is that? Get a girl.
Oh, so sweet.
Oh, cool. And see, and like, just connecting this to this has got a link to your YouTube, your Instagram, your website. Like, that's really cool. Like, see, that makes it, just that type of exposure too is epic. They haven't announced anything for 2025, so I haven't ruled it out for myself yet.
Definitely keep an eye on it because it is such a cool experience to be able to do. And like meet lots of people and volunteering as well. Like just, it's like another application form, and you can I basically just live at the festival for that time, and you do like a few hours of volunteering, and then you get to go into, like, you just sneak in the back to whatever panels you want to see, and it forces you to see things that you wouldn't have chosen for yourself, but that usually says something so profound that you're like, wow, I need to go to that one every time.
Also, for anyone who's like wanting to break into a publishing job after uni or regardless of uni, I have a very dear friend of mine, and she broke into her current publishing job. I think she's a sales representative for.
Oh, is this Maddie?
I'd have to look it up. Yeah, it is Maddie. This is how she got it. She like sent me her cover letters to help me try and get jobs because she's so lovely. She's an angel. Aww. And
yes, she's really amazing.
Things like volunteering at writers' festivals look great on a resume, especially if you're looking to get in, maybe not so much a writer's side, but on a publishing side or an editing side or a book side. This is one of those great things that shows that you can connect with authors. It shows you can help manage projects and events. So yeah, it's a multifaceted experience that is 10 out of 10.
That you're involved in those spaces as well is huge. And Maddie also told me once that like volunteering at like other festivals and things like that, like if you go to the one in Melbourne or the one in Cairns, or like just travel for it, it shows that you're also more likely to, travel for work in a sense, like that, like say you're in Brisbane but you're applying for editorial positions in Melbourne, they'll see like, oh, you volunteered for the festival here, you are more likely possibly to move here for work, which is nice, and that kind of shows that, which is cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Oh, fabulous. Okay. So we got the last one, which is the National Young Writers Festival. I haven't been to it, but I've heard different things about this sort of thing, and the like Emerging Writers Festival that's in Melbourne, and there's so many different things that is. So yeah, the National Young Writers Festival, the program is free and mostly aimed to 18 to 25-year-olds. And they do some online events and things like that, and just you should really like look at what festivals for writing or books in your area, because they're pretty amazing.
They are really cool. And something people will notice too is when when festivals pop up, there'll be a string of workshops suddenly available. That might be for free or anything like that. Like I know when the Emerging Writers Festival was on, I didn't go. I'd love to go, but
yeah, me too.
I didn't go, but there's heaps of online workshops that might be like $20, which is way cheaper than a plane ticket to go. But it's something you can go to. I think I did one on children's storytelling, and it was really cool. So yeah. So if you can't get to the festival, look out for the opportunities that come attached with the festival.
Yeah, and you just get so many books signed. Because it's like, as I was talking, you go into those panels that you weren't expecting to go into, and then they speak, and you're like, wow, I love them. They're amazing. Like, I need that book. And then you go out and you buy that book and get it signed and come home with like a whole stack.
It's the best thing ever. Yeah, that's pretty much what happened to me when I went to the Brisbane Writers Festival. I got, have you heard of Kinky History?
Yes, I follow her on Instagram, and I just keep seeing everything, yeah.
Yeah, I heard her speak, and she signed my book, and she was lovely, and I've read the book, and it's so much fun. I love it.
Oh, see, that's one that I'm sad I didn't get the book for. There's so many books. Oh,
the post, like the not by regret, it's real. It's really, really real.
Yeah. Every time I have like a book club or something like that, it's for a book that I was like this close to buying and getting signed at the Brisbane Writers Festival, and I'm like, really?
Yeah, every time.
But yeah, so okay, I think that's it for our basically under 25s bucket list to try and hit. Good luck, anyone listening to this who's interested in some of these things.